Have you ever faced a situation where your batch processing just doesn't seem to work as expected? It can be really frustrating, especially when you're dealing with large data sets. If that sounds like you, stick around because today we are diving into Spring Batch and fault tolerance. I totally get it. When you're processing millions of records, the last thing you want is for exceptions to throw a wrench in your workflow. You're not alone in this. Many developers have encountered similar issues with fault tolerance in Spring Batch. Let's break down the specific question at hand. One user asked if their understanding of fault tolerance was correct. They wanted to know if, when an exception is thrown in the processor, it would be handled by the skip listener, allowing the next item to be processed. Sound familiar? Let's explore this together. So, what does fault tolerance really mean in this context? It allows your batch job to continue processing even when certain items fail. However, if you're seeing items being reprocessed or skipped entirely, that can lead to performance issues, especially with large data sets. And don't go anywhere. By the end of this video, I'll share a crucial tip that can help you optimize your batch processing and avoid these pitfalls. To address the user's concern about fault tolerance in Spring Batch, let's clarify how the fault-tolerant configuration works. When an exception occurs in the build processor, the framework will skip that item and continue processing the next one. However, the user mentioned that items were being reprocessed. This can happen if the skip listener is configured to handle the skipped items, but it does not mean they are processed again in the build processor. If the user is processing a large number of records, such as 2 million, and a significant number are skipped, performance can indeed be impacted. It's important to monitor how many items are being skipped and adjust the processing strategy accordingly. The user also mentioned an alternative approach where they remove the fault-tolerant configuration and directly save skipped records to the database. This can be a valid solution, especially if the user needs to ensure that all records are processed without skipping. In conclusion, the user should weigh the benefits of fault tolerance against the need for performance and complete processing. Depending on the specific requirements, either approach can be valid. Fun fact, did you know that the concept of fault tolerance was inspired by the way humans learn from mistakes? Just like we adapt and improve, so can our batch processes. Now, let's look at the answers provided by other users. This user emphasizes that errors are a natural part of processing data. They suggest using the Spring Batch skip technique to handle exceptions without failing the entire job. By specifying which exceptions to skip and setting a maximum number of skipped items, you can continue processing without interruption. However, it's crucial to determine a reasonable threshold for skipped records to avoid performance issues. The user also notes that the skipping process occurs at the individual item level, allowing Spring Batch to reevaluate items that fail processing. This is acceptable in batch jobs, which often deal with large data sets and can tolerate some latency. Let's move forward and look at another answer. Another user encountered a similar issue with reprocessing items when exceptions occur in the processor. They resolved this by using the processor non-transactional method. This approach allows for better performance by preventing unnecessary reprocessing of skipped records. Here's the tip I promised. Always log your skipped items and analyze the reasons behind them. This can help you refine your processing logic and improve overall performance. And there you have it. With a better understanding of fault tolerance in Spring Batch, you can optimize your processing and avoid unnecessary reprocessing. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more insights and tips.